So for cube sign number 2, I have to cover tissues of the skin. So as you can see here, there's 3 types of tissues in the skin: epithelial, connective, and nervous. The skin protects the muscular tissue, so the muscular tissue is not found in the skin. So the first part of the skin I'll cover is on the epidermis. In the epidermis, you will find epithelial tissue. So in epithelial tissue in there, you will have stratified squamous, and that is broken down into 4 separate parts, 5 for thick skin. The first part at the bottom is called the stratum basale. The stratum basale has the column-shaped basal cells that divide and are eventually pushed up by the cells being divided, and then they will enter the next layer. I'll get to that in a moment. Also, the stratum basale has the melanocytes, which produces the pigmentation and melanin of the skin, which causes your skin to have the color it does. So the next layer up, after the basal cells are pushed up, is the stratum spinosum. Here you will find the keratinocytes that produce the keratin. And these are the basal cells that they're just produced. They become keratinocytes to produce keratin, which helps make your skin tougher and forms the nails. After they're pushed up, they enter the stratum granulosum, where the keratinocytes begin to be squished together. They're super flat, and they also begin to dry out and die. So they're now dead skin cells. And finally, after they're pushed all the way up, they're in the stratum corneum, which is 10 to 30 layers of dead keratinocytes, which make up your actual skin that you can see. And now the 5th layer is only found in thick skin, which I'll get into later, is the stratum lucidum. This is only in thick skin. So the next kind of tissues is connective tissue in the skin. You will find 2 major types of connective tissue in the dermis and 1 type in the subcutaneous fat layer. So the first type in the dermis is collagens. So collagens support structure of the skin. They also give the skin the ability to retain moisture, and they attract cells to wounds, such as fibroblast cells, to wounds which aid in the repair of those wounds. So think of collagens, they're like the strong things that hold the skin and give it its structure. Elastins make up 2% of the protein in the cell in the dermis and in the skin, which is mainly located in the dermis. It provides the elastic stretch and recoil to the skin. So for example, if you lift up your skin and you let go and it goes back to its original space, that's what the elastins are for. They locate the middle layer of the dermis, while the collagens are typically found in the lower layers of the dermis. And in the subcutaneous fat, you have adipose tissue. You have both white and brown. However, brown adipose tissue is typically found in more younger infants. White adipose tissue is found more commonly in adults, in teenagers, and all that. White adipose tissue provides the insulation. It stores the energy, and it provides padding to the skin. So, for example, if you punch your skin and you can feel the padding of the subcutaneous tissue because of that. The brown adipose tissue will generate heat. It will consume energy, and it's that. And then finally you have the nervous tissue. So the nervous tissue is the sensory nerves that are in the epidermis. So these nerves are what gives you the ability to feel heat, pain, and all of that. And then it sends it to the brain, and the brain will tell you how to react. For example, if you touch something that's hot, your brain is going to immediately tell you to remove it because it hurts. The pain is signaling to your body what is not good for it. So for example, if you couldn't feel pain, you'd put your hand on like a hot iron, and you're damaging your skin, but you don't know because you can't feel it. So the pain is what tells your brain to remove it away. And the sensory nerves are also, when they're deprived of blood, they become numb. You have the pins and needles tingling. That's all the sensory nerves. And now thick skin versus thin skin. Thin skin is found in almost every part of the body, except for the palms of your hands, the soles of your feet, and your fingertips. Thin skin as I've just described, it's everywhere else. The thinnest part of your thin skin is your eyelids, and other parts are up to 1.5 millimeters, while the eyelids are just 0.5 millimeter. But thick skin is only found in places where you have severe abrasion. And so, for example, the palms of your hands you grab stuff with it, so it's going to be used a lot. So the 5th layer of the epidermis is what thick skin uses in order to prevent it from being shedded so easily or torn so easily. And that is the difference, and that is the tissues of the skin.